Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I welcome class 10th in my lecture series for chemistry. In our today's lecture, we will discuss about the properties of alkynes. This is the last topic of our chapter 12. Let's move towards our main topic. We will first discuss the physical properties of alkynes. Alkynes are unsaturated hydrocarbons. This means that they have at least one triple bond between two carbon atoms. The first three members having number of carbon atoms ranging from 2 to 4 are gaseous in nature. The next 8 members containing carbon atoms between 5 to 12 are liquids in nature, and the higher members of alkynes are solids. So as the number of carbon atom increases, the physical state changes from gaseous to liquid and from liquid to the solid state. Alkynes are non-polar in nature. In alkynes, we have C triple bond C and C single bond H. If you look at these two bonds, one is the single covalent bond and the other is the triple bond. Now, the electronegativity difference between two atoms in these bonds is very less, and because of less electronegativity difference, these alkynes are non-polar in nature. Because of non-polar nature, these alkynes are soluble in organic solvents, because we know that organic solvents are also non-polar in nature. The simplest member of the alkyne, or you may say the first member of alkyne, is ethyne. And ethyne has a garlic-like odor and it is a colorless gas. Now let's discuss the chemical properties of alkynes. Alkynes are reactive, and this reactivity is because of the presence of a triple bond. They undergo addition reactions across the triple bond. Now, if they are undergoing addition reactions, then the question arises that how many molecules will be added across triple bond. In the addition reaction of alkenes, we saw that for a double bond, for breaking the double bond, we needed for breaking the double bond, we needed one molecule. So this means that for breaking the triple bond, or for addition across the triple bond, we will add two molecules. In order to understand it further, let's discuss some chemical reactions of alkynes that are relevant to the addition reactions of alkynes. So the first addition reaction that alkynes undergo is the addition of halogens. What are halogens? Halogens are the elements of the group 7 member of the periodic table, that are fluorine, chlorine, bromine or iodine. Alkynes add two molecules of halogens across triple bond to form tetrahalides. This is the chemical reaction. In the first step, ethyne will react with chlorine molecule to form 1,2-dichloroethane. The breaking of a triple bond is a step-by-step process. First, the triple bond breaks and the triple bond got converted into a double bond. Now, when the triple bond breaks, let me write it like this. When the triple bond breaks, then that bond got converted into double bond. Now, if you look at the bonds of each carbon atom in this molecule, then you will see that the carbon atom is forming 3 bonds here. So, we need to draw another bond on the carbon atom. Now what will happen at the end of each bond, one chlorine atom will be added. So this is the addition reaction. Why? Because the two chlorine atoms in a chlorine molecule are being added across the triple bond. This is the first step of the addition reaction. Now, in the second step, the double bond between these two carbon atoms will break. And when this double bond will break, it will get converted into a single bond between two carbon atoms. A new bond will be generated on each carbon atom. And at the end of each bond, chlorine atom will be added. So, this is the end product of the addition reactions of alkynes. And when the addition reactions of alkynes take place, the end product is tetrachloroethane. So this means that when the addition reaction of alkynes take place, we got tetrahalides. Tetra means 4. If you look in the tetrachloroethane, you may see that 4 chlorine atoms are present in this compound. So the end product of the addition reaction of alkynes when halogens are added across the triple bond is the tetrahalides. In alkenes, the end product of the addition reaction was a dihalide. In alkynes, the end product of the addition reaction is tetrahalide. Now let's do a self-assessment exercise related to this chemical reaction. Write chemical reaction of ethyne and bromine and why this reaction is used to identify the unsaturation in a molecule. Now, we just did this chemical reaction. We just read about this chemical reaction. Then in the first step, the triple bond between the ethyne molecule will break and it will get converted into a double bond. A new bond will be generated across each carbon atom, and at the end of this newly generated bond, bromine atom will be attached. Now in the first step, we have the formation of dihalide, and this dihalide is unsaturated. Now this is the addition of one. On the addition of one molecule of bromine, the triple bond got converted into double bond. On the addition of second molecule of bromine, this is your chemical substance A. On the addition of second molecule of bromine, we will get a saturated product, that is the tetrahalide. And this is your chemical substance B. Why we use the term saturated for this chemical substance B? Because here all the bonds are single bond. Next reaction that alkynes undergo is the oxidation of alkynes, and this oxidation takes place in the presence of potassium permanganate. Alkynes do not react with dilute alkaline aqueous solution of potassium permanganate. However, they are oxidized by strong alkaline solution of potassium permanganate to give oxalic acid. This oxalic acid is the end product of this reaction. By alkaline, we mean that this is a solution that is basic in nature. Strong alkaline solution of potassium permanganate means that here the solution of potassium permanganate is made in potassium hydroxide. This potassium hydroxide is a base here. Now when potassium permanganate reacts with potassium hydroxide, It results in the formation of potassium manganate. This K2MnO4 is called as potassium manganate plus 4 atomic oxygen and plus 2 molecules of water. Now in the first step, what happens that the 4 hydroxyl groups are added across the triple bond. Now we have ethyne. In ethyne, what happens that these two bonds between carbon atoms break. The only bond that is left between two carbon atoms is the single bond. Now when these two bonds break, then two new bonds are generated across each carbon bond. Let me draw it again. When these two bonds break, then we get a substance like this. And as you may see here that for each carbon atom only two bonds are being drawn, that is C single bond C and C single bond H. We need to draw two more bonds across each carbon atom in order to complete its valency. When ethyne reacts with water molecule in the presence of atomic oxygen, then what happens that 4OH group will be attached at the end of each new generated bond. Now this chemical substance that is formed at the end of this reaction is called as tetrahydroxyethane. Now if I will simplify it further, these H2O molecules, since two molecules of H2O are being used here, so we will get 2H positive and 2OH negative. Since we are using two atomic oxygen, so these two atomic oxygen will react with 2H positive, two atomic oxygen to form 2OH. Alright, so at the end we get 4OH. And these 4 OH groups will be added across the triple bond. So at the end, in the first step, we will get the tetrahydroxyethane. Now in the second step, what happens that this tetrahydroxyethane is an unstable compound. So it will lose two water molecules to form another chemical substance called as glyoxal. Now this is the tetrahydroxyethane. We know that the oxygen, the OH bond may be represented like this. Here this oxygen is attached to carbon atom. There is partial negative charge on the oxygen atom and partial positive charge on the hydrogen atom. Now what happens that this oxygen atom attack on this hydrogen atom and get converted into water molecule. Now when this happen, the chemical substance may appear like this, OH2 positive, and here we have negative charge on the oxygen atom. Now what happens that oxygen will form a double bond here and the bond between carbon and oxygen will break here. It will get converted into a form like this. Here positive charge will appear and first we will write it like this, O negative. This OH2 will be released in the form of water molecule. Now same will happen on this side, that this oxygen atom will attack on hydrogen atom and it will release in the form of water molecule, and then this situation will be like this: CO negative, C positive, positive, O negative. Now what will happen, that this double bond will shift here. Similarly, this double bond will shift here. After the shifting of double bond, we will get a chemical substance like this. The double bond will be generated between C and O here. Similarly, the double bond will be generated between C and O here. Now at the end we will get a chemical substance like this, which is called as glyoxal. Now if you look at this reaction, then you will see that out of 4 atomic oxygen, only 2 moles of this atomic oxygen are being consumed here. 2 moles are still remaining unreacted. Now these 2 unreacted moles will at the end oxidize the glyoxal. And how it will oxidize the glyoxal, that these 2 oxygen atoms will be added across this bond. Oxygen will be attached to the hydrogen atom here, and we will get oxalic acid in return. And as you may see here, that this is a carboxyl group. So oxalic acid is a kind of carboxylic acid. So this is how the oxidation of alkynes take place in the presence of potassium permanganate, and the end product of this reaction is the oxalic acid when ethyne is oxidized. Now let's discuss some of the uses of acetylene. Acetylene is used in the artificial ripening of fruits. You see here that first the color of banana was green, it was not ripe. So when these bananas were exposed to acetylene gas, then there is the artificial ripening of these bananas, and they get converted into yellow color. Second use of the oxyacetylene is that acetylene is used in the form of oxyacetylene torch for welding and cutting of metals. And the temperature of this flame is around 3500 degrees C. Acetylene is also used in the manufacturing of polymers like polyvinyl acetate, polyvinyl chloride, polyethers, and the rubbers. Acetylene is also used as a gas lamp. These are the portable gas lamps and were used in the late 19th century. So these lamps produce energy from the acetylene gas. Oxyacetylene has also some synthetic applications. This means that they are also used in the synthesis of different chemicals like ethanol. The structure for ethanol is CH3, C double bond OH. It is an aldehyde. The acetylene is also used for the preparation of ethane, and we read about it that the alkynes produce alkane through the process of hydrogenation. Similarly, they are also used for the synthesis of formic acid as well as the oxalic acids. So these were some of the uses of the acetylene. Let's do a self-assessment exercise. Complete the following reaction. In the first reaction, we are given 1 propyne because here 3 carbon atoms are present, and we have to react it with 2 molecules of bromine. We know that the addition reaction of alkynes involve addition of 2 molecules. So we will just write the end product For the addition reaction of alkynes, we know the end product is a saturated compound. So I will directly write the end product. 2 bromine atoms will be added on each carbon atom. So at the end we will get a tetrahalide. Same is the case for this reaction. 2 chlorine atoms will be added with each carbon atom, and at the end we will get a tetrahalide. So this was all about the properties of alkynes. We discussed about the physical properties of alkynes, we discussed about the chemical properties of alkynes, and at the end we discussed some uses of acetylene. So our chapter ends today. From tomorrow onwards we will start our next chapter. Thank you for being with me.